Shalom, shalom. Before I get started, let me give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rekah HaKodash, the one to the Apostle Nails and Great Millstone. Peace and blessing to the brother that preaching the truth in the four winds of the earth. May Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, have mercy upon you. Alright, I'm on this lady page. I'm not sure y'all familiar with this. Her name is Katie Happer, and she's entertaining U.S. Army Colonel Lawrence Wilkerson. Said praises Yemen. He praises Yemen for Houthis for defending the Palestinians. You know, America been bombing on people forever, man. And I mean, you would think that they would be the one. Those the little small proxy wars that they've been having over in the so-called Middle East. You would think they'd be the one or taking over that portion of the region to themselves, as they have taken the world, but they have not. Hey man, because why? Iran sits there. And that's what? That's a back and forth with U.S. and Iran. And we know that Iran is going to be the what? Going to be the one that is going to destroy Israel. Just a matter of time. And we're gonna. I got like 2-3 videos that I'm gonna go through, and they're gonna show you and give you a little more understanding. You know, got some. What's the guy name? Jimmy Dore show, and then I'm gonna go on this guy Canadian Prepper. You know, they've been doing their research, so I'm gonna play their video and give a little more understanding concerning the war and the overall aspects of what's going to take place in those wars. So, but let's hear this right here first, though, and see what they say. Let me turn it up. Cause this is Esau's Edom. Esau love doing this right here, y'all. Now, hear this out. This was about like the first minute of it. Listen up.
The titillating story of the day, Jeffrey Goldberg was an IDF member and a prison guard in Israel. Wrote a book about it. You have to demonize your enemy if you're going to kill them the way they're killing them. I mean, you have to...
You have to demonize your enemy if they're going to kill them the way they're killing them. What does that mean, y'all? In the same reason, in the same aspect of where they gun us down. When I say gun us down, I'm talking about mainly the southern kingdom, which is Judah, which is so-called black man. Don't they demonize us? You got to demonize your enemies if you want to what? Let's run that back a little bit.
Wrote a book about it. You have to demonize your enemy if you're going to kill them the way they're killing them. I mean, you have to treat them subhuman. There's no other way to do it. That's the same thing we did with the Apaches, the Comanches, the Sioux, and others.
Same way we did with the Apaches and the Sioux and the others. Those are who? Those are the northern kingdom, children of Israel. This man is giving you and letting you know the lies that America has been portraying for centuries. You know, they keep no treaties. All they do is manipulate, and they have broken all treaties that they have ever signed and agreement that they have ever signed, all of them, including the last one with what that is, even with Israel. You know, America, United States, Babylon, in Jerusalem, the Israelis, the small hatters, they're one and the same. So they're one and the same. So they have always who that is, Hamas and Israel. What was it? It was a ceasefire, and what happened? I don't even think a week went by and they started bombing them people. Bombing them again. Let's wind it back again.
If you're going to kill them the way they're killing them. I mean, you have to treat them subhuman.
Hold up, bring back a little more. Very important point here, man.
Jeffrey Goldberg was an IDF member and a prison guard in Israel. Wrote a book about it. You have to demonize your enemy if you're going to kill them the way they're killing them. I mean, you have to treat them subhuman. There's no other way to do it. That's the same thing we did with the Apaches, the Comanches, the Sioux, and others. Wounded Knee, all the places where we broke our treaties and did the ethnic cleansing in the most significant and profound ways. They were all Indians. They were all red people. They weren't human. They were subhuman.
Yeah, it's infuriating. What are your thoughts on?
It's amazing how Esau called the Indian red people when the scriptures speak about who's red. Esau, who is who. We just say the Edomites, and they're red. See, look at him. One good prime example. Look how red he is. These are Edomites. They are the red people, but they what? They have taken. Esau, Edom had taken everyone's heritage and what, and portrayed to be what? They have been everybody but Esau. The so-called white man has taken everybody's religion, everybody's nationality but themselves. They do not claim Esau.
On this scandal, which in my opinion, the scandal is how this is being reported on. But as people know, Jeffrey Goldberg, who you just mentioned, who is at The Atlantic, he, in a recent signal thread between Pete Hegseth and others about war plans in Yemen, which is kind of an unusual place for top secret chats, a person was mistakenly added to the chat, and this has caused quite a stir, and that person was Jeffrey Goldberg, former IDF soldier and prison guard, as well as the editor of The Atlantic. And according to Goldberg, these war plans against Yemen and Ansar Allah were sent to him by accident. So I'm curious what you think of this story. Signal war plans chat, read leaked texts in full. So let's take a look at some of these texts. So JD Vance, Pete Hegseth, if you think we should do it, let's go. And they're talking about bombing Yemen. I just hate bailing Europe out again. Let's just make sure our mess.
Now this war plans now. Now look at how she gonna read this here, but I want to make a point. Now look how they're speaking about Europe, Canada, was their allies. This we've been blowing and tooting that horn and telling you that everyone is gonna hate the whore, which is their allies, and who's hating the U.S. more than their allies. Their allies are hating them more than their enemies. Their enemies. So the scriptures does not lie concerning what that is, Ezekiel. Not to get off point. Well, this all this here is not off point, because Ezekiel 38 and verse, I think that's verse 4. Ezekiel 38 and verse 4, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thy armies, horses and horsemen, all of them what clothed. You're going to bring them into the valley of Jehoshaphat. Yahweh Shaphat, right? He's going to force them to do his will, man. So, now it didn't happen. We've been telling you all this and screaming this and telling you this here. Now it took place, but no one say or fix their lips to say, hey man, it was like been preaching that for a minute, man. And now what? Now it's here. But they got to ignore us. They got to act like they ignore us. But guess what? Most of them got our ear, and you can best believe they watching the apostles, man. You can best believe that.
Messaging is tight here, and if there are things we can do up front to minimize risks to Saudi oil facilities, we should do it. Pete Hegseth, VP, I fully share your loathing of European freeloading. It's pathetic. But Mike Waltz, Mike is correct. We are the only ones on the planet on our side of the ledger who can do this. Nobody else even close. Question is timing. I feel like now is as good time as any, given POTUS directive to reopen shipping lanes. I think we should go, but POTUS still retains 24 hours of decision space. This is after, so Michael Tracy tweets, celebrating the initiation of another open-ended U.S. bombing campaign with American flag and fire emojis is really touching. So a good start. And then Mike Waltz does the fist emoji, the American flag, and the fire emoji, which, I mean, could be interpreted as, America is a dumpster fire, but I don't think that's what he meant. Then we have someone saying, good job, Pete, and your team. Then Michael Waltz, the team in Mal did a great job as well. Great work, all powerful start.
I think MAR might be Marco Rubio.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
And just a quick question, Colonel Wilkerson. Correct me if I'm wrong, but would this, technically speaking, be them violating the Espionage Act?
Well, John Kiriakou passed an email around here recently saying that he was convicted under 3 parts of the Espionage Act for the very same thing that is happening here. Right. And of course, he went to prison. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, but it's not going to happen. You hear Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, dismissing everything. Just dismissed everything as if there was no problem whatsoever. Now, let me say something about other data that was released. One of the things that
all right, man, I may come back to let's get to talking about the. I mean, they talking about the same thing concerning the wars and whatever, but let's go to this guy's page, Jimmy Dore, right? Listen to this here.
Is Americans' bases surrounding Iran? Okay, what are they doing?
Right where we want them.
What are they doing? Putting their country in the middle of all our military bases. So if Doge was a real thing, which I think it's fun that they find out these, they're funding trans ballets and stuff. That's fun. It's hilarious. Yeah. I doubt that money was even being, but the point is, if they were serious about cutting money and balancing the budget, they would get rid of all these bases. These are American bases, military bases. This is actually from 2017. So there might be.
Let's count them. I'm going to count them. Let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 31. Man, that's 40-some bases around that sits around Iran. But listen to what he said, though.
And in Turkmenistan.
So there might be a few less in Afghanistan. I'm not even sure about that. But look at all of them in Saudi Arabia and Qatar.
Why didn't Russia want to have all their bases around them?
Where's the Russian bases? There's not. Where's China's bases? They're not there. Just the United States, because our government is taken over by the military-industrial complex and Israel. That's why. So why do I bring this up? Well, because I had a guy on social media say, hey, the Houthis, the people in Yemen, they attacked our group of carriers in the Red Sea. And my question is, do you hear what you're saying? Why does the United States have a group of carriers in the Middle East? Does China have a group of carriers off California? Does Russia have a group of carriers in the Hudson Bay? No. So U.S. naval assets in the Red Sea. There's the USS Harry Truman. So that's the aircraft carrier. But it's not just an aircraft carrier. With every aircraft carrier comes a bunch of destroyers and battleships. So then there's the U.S. Gettysburg, the U.S. Stout, U.S. Jason Dunham, the USS The Sullivans. The Sullivans. Sounds like you're stationed at a pub.
Yeah, sounds like the Fighting Sullivans, that movie about that where the entire family dies in World War II.
Oh, that's right.
The Fighting Sullivans.
So this is how we say we care. Some people send flowers. The United States, we send aircraft carriers and the Sullivans. USS Georgia is also there. So that's want to hear this.
Don't forget the USS.
Man, we ain't got long, man. We don't have long, man, because look at all this here. People are still trying to live the illusion of America coming back to what it used to be. It's madness. Even though everything is going on around it, every week is something new. And every week they're taking more and more and more and more from you. And these fools sitting around here trying to find out what the next part at. Hey, shoot, man, Revelations, what the hell, 16:16, man, and he said gather them together into a place called, in Hebrew tongue, Armageddon, man. Huh? Armageddon. Meaning the war of troops, man. This is what they're doing. They're gathering to do, man. But they messing with Iran, man. Listen what they say about Iran.
There's Israel, our best friend and aircraft carrier.
That's right. That's right. So here's the aircraft carrier. That's the Truman. That's in the Red Sea. The USS Gettysburg. That's a guided missile cruiser. That's also there.
Make 2025 the year resolutions become.
Stop it, man. Can't stop the commercial no more. Look at that. You gotta let them play. Okay.
That's the USS Stout. That's another guided missile destroyer. The USS The Sullivans. That's a guided missile destroyer.
What? What kind of name is that?
I know, the Sullivans. The USS
Family Guy.
The USS Georgia is there. That's a guided missile submarine. So we have imagine if Russia or China had all those in the Red Sea too. But they don't.
No.
They don't. Imagine if they had them in the Gulf of Mexico, America. Imagine if they had that's the equivalent of what we have.
Yeah, and also, again, really nice stuff. We haven't won for many years.
Right. Yeah. That's the sad part. Well, here, let me just show you this before we get to that. The USA has now.
You heard that? Said we haven't won in many years. But U.S. give you that illusion and have you thinking that they've been winning since they've been running over in the Middle East since the days of Iraq. They ain't been winning anything. They bombing the hell out of them people. They ain't winning anything. They haven't taken over anything. Now they got Air Force bases all around up in there, whatever. But let's listen to them out. This guy did his little homework.
Has now moved 7 B-2A Spirit stealth bombers to the Diego Garcia Air Base in the Indian Ocean, together with a large number of support aircraft. So these are all our stealth, right? These are stealth. They're so stealthy you can see them. The Houthis in Yemen and the Islamic regime in Iran are within range of this. That's why they're sending them.
Thank God. Oh, wow. And by the way, they haven't been defeated, the Houthis, even though they've been bombed for...
70 years. 70 years, as George Galloway just told us. So, also...
70 years they've been bombing them people, man. It had not been no peace of... No peace of them devils been over there, man. But they've been in there since 1948. They haven't had no peace, man. They said they've been bombing these people for 70 years and they still ain't won.
There's a second U.S. aircraft carrier strike group heading to the Middle East. So not only do we have all this stuff there we have whole nother group just like this, and just like this, heading there.
Yay!
Yay! And here's all our bases. And of course, here's the sad part. The really sad part is America would still lose in a war with Iran.
Yeah, why would we win that? We didn't win.
America would still lose with a war with Iran. First, why? Because it's prophecy that Iran is going to be one of the main ones right along with Russia, putting in that work. Huh? Hear me?
Win against Iraq. They didn't have hypersonic missiles.
And how do I know that we would lose? Well, check our win-loss record since World War II. It's just...
It ain't good.
It's not me saying it. This is the math saying it. America can't win wars.
Look at all those, like a sex offender registry, all that, to lose. America doesn't win. Why do people think that we win?
And because we're trying to fight people who live there, just like in Afghanistan. They knew they were going to win because they lived.
That's like Russia, man. That's like Russia. They over there, America, Canada, all of them, they been in that war over there in Russia and Ukraine. They can't win. You know why they can't win? Because they're in Russia, man. They're over there trying to fight them in their country. That's like Russia coming over here and bringing stuff, and they're in Canada and they trying to fight America over here in America. It's just not. That just don't make no sense. The math, the equation of them winning is impossible. Even though they got all these Air Force bases around, surrounding this place, like right here, and they said what? Let's hear him out.
There.
Right. You know how the WEF is having a hard time conquering America because the people that live here don't like it and have guns? Well, that is true of a lot of places.
Yeah. So, Iran has hypersonic missiles. Do you know who doesn't? None of these bases, the United States bases, none of them have
You hear that? Hypersonic missiles. Iran have them. But none of these bases have hypersonic missiles. So they're just like sitting ducks. Iran can wipe all this crap out.
hypersonic missiles.
Those are just juicy targets.
Yeah. Hypersonic missiles. They have them. You know who doesn't? The United States. How is that? I don't know.
You're worried about nukes in Iran. If you're worried about nukes in Iran, you're a moron that doesn't know anything.
Why does Iran sit right in the middle of where we have all our military bases? It's like they're trying to pick a fight.
Yeah.
It's like they're trying to pick a fight. Well, guess what? More good news, ladies and gentlemen. It appears to be significantly increasing its military presence in the Middle East. Who? The United States. What are they doing? The United States is sending highly sophisticated aircraft and a second aircraft carrier to the Middle East. In recent days, at least 5 B-2 stealth bombers have deployed to
Gotta get a precept in. Why they all going to the Middle East, y'all? Joel 3 and 2. I will also gather all nations, and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. For what? That's World War III. And will plead, meaning what? Judge with them there for my people, and for my heritage Israel, whom they have what? Scattered among the nations, and parted my land. Haven't they not? They fighting the land. They pardon the land of Jerusalem, and all that land. What they fighting over? The Arabs occupying, and the Israelis occupying. It don't belong to any of them, man. What did he say? For my people, I will also gather all nations, and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, which is World War III again, and will plead, meaning judge, with what? With them there for my people. You know, this is the so-called Middle East. What they're screaming about. The scriptures speak. You know, I mean, they're literally are literally just running off the pages, man. They're running off the pages. For my people and for my heritage, whom I have scattered among the nations and parted my land.
Diego Garcia, a British military base used by the United States in the Indian Ocean. More are apparently en route.
Nice.
Nice.
I remember our last war with Iraq that somehow Iran won, and I Operation Third Time's a Charm is go.
So here's where right here is where the USS Truman is, right, with all those battleships and submarines. And now they're sending all these over here. So that's over there. And now they're sending them right over here. So they can still strike Iran, not far from Iran. Just so you know, that's where they're at. That's where they are. Here's Diego Garcia. That's where they are. So they're sending them there to ramp up for a war with Iran. That's what this is about. They're ramping up, Trump administration ramping up for a war with Iran. So
hey, remember Trump said the bloodshed had to stop with Ukraine, and I was really into that. I thought that.
Why, man? Why? The Amalek Amalek, Jerusalem, the small hatters. Huh? They would. They are the ones going to what that precept is, the least of the flock shall draw them, the least of the flock, and that's Amalek. Going to draw what? Going to draw that war in what? In the so-called Middle East. So they all are going to get what? They all are going to all are going to gather together in the so-called Middle East, and they're going to be destroyed. They're going to destroy one another. Wait till I click to the this guy here, the Canadian Prepper, but here is out a little more, and I'm gonna go to the guy Canadian Prepper. He had a pretty good video.
That was great, and but we got to crank up the bloodshed over in Sandyland. Apparently, that's where the bloodshed is going to be great.
Yeah.
It's going to be great losing Americans. It's going to be great. Well, obviously, it's great killing them because we never stop.
And I would tell all your fat kids to start doing push-ups because we're going to need all hands on deck for Israel because that's what this is all about.
That's right.
Yo, send your kids to die for Israel. Why not?
We did the Iraq war for Israel. We did the Libyan war for Israel. Did the Syrian war for Israel. With Sudan, Somalia, Yemen, and now we're going to Lebanon. And now we're going to do Iran.
That is, and that's their end. The least of the flock should draw them out. The least of the flock then finally done what? Then finna make World War III. The least of the flock, Iran. You heard all of the names of all of the wars that America has been fighting for what? Fighting for Israel, the Israelis.
It's coming.
Here I thought a real friend just helps you move.
7 C-17 aircraft have also been tracked landing on the remote atoll, suggesting transportation of equipment, personnel, and supplies and refueling aircraft have been repositioned to strategic locations. The Pentagon recently ordered the USS Harry Truman Carrier Strike Group to extend its deployment in the Red Sea by a month, and a second strike group led by the USS.
Okay, y'all, let's go to the Canadian Prepper. He got a little video here. Now check this out. Let's see what Iran got. See what he talking about when he said that Iran has a nuke, has those nukes. Let's see this out.
Times when giving that testimony, if you can call it that. In fact, they believe that they have nuclear weapons already. Now, whether or not they do, whether or not they should, these are dilemmas and debates that can be had at another time. The fact of the matter is, they are preparing, and they've been amassing bombs in Israel for the longest time, ostensibly for the purpose of targeting Lebanon, Syria, and the Gaza Strip. But the amount of ordnance that the Israelis have been amassing, and the MOABs that have been given to the Israelis as well, signal that it very well could be the case that Israel is going to first move in through this new neutral...
The name of this video is Breaking. Rapid Nuclear Bomber Build Up. Iran's economy is crashing. Radical event imminent. Meaning what? War, man.
Airspace that has been gained by the fall of Syria. They'll be able to fly their fighter jets through here and into Iran. Now, of course, they could go through Jordan, they could go through Iraq, they could go through Saudi Arabia. But then those countries risk retaliation from Iran. Now, it's very likely that regardless of the outcome, eventually these countries are going to be implicated in some way, shape, or form, despite the recent negotiations and peace talks between Iran and Saudi Arabia that were brokered recently by the Chinese, and despite the constructive relationship with certain elements of the Iraqi government, it's very likely that Iran will hold those countries to account when it starts firing missiles in all directions. And Iran does have the capacity to level every U.S. military base within the region with ease.
Huh? Didn't the guy over there at the Jimmy Dore show say the same thing? That they have missiles to level every base that they got probably 50 bases over there that surrounds Iran. America does. But Iran can level every base it is.
of course, yesterday I showed you the video that showcased Iran's most recent subterranean complex in which they're preparing for nuclear Armageddon. Okay? Never before have we
Armageddon, y'all. The Bible, I just read it, which is a Revelation 16:16. Huh? Now these so-called, I don't know what he is. He could be, I don't know what he is. But he could be an Edomite. I don't know what he is. But he's a Canadian prepper, right? But he's speaking what? These people, these terms, these people was not using these terms, Bible terms concerning concerning prophecy. Now they are using what? They're using the terms that are used in scriptures by what? By stating their case concerning what's going on in the earth. So we are not the only ones where they listen to the prophets. You know, they've been listening to the prophets long enough to know that what we've been saying is true.
Seen complexes of this scale and scope, not even during the Cold War. I would imagine that not even the United States has missile complexes like this, because of course the United States is a power projecting empire. So we've never had to go underground. A lot of these countries who have been isolated through sanctions have had no other choice but to build downwards. Okay? And so they are prepared for nuclear Armageddon. Now, I've heard some military analysts suggest that this is actually a bad setup, because if you were to set off one...
Man, look at all them. Those are hypersonic missiles.
Of these devices, it could potentially cause a chain reaction. Okay? So that you would actually want to have some blast doors in between separating these things, because if they're all connected like this, you know, it could set off a chain reaction. Now, I don't know the physics behind that, if it's possible, if there's no oxygen, you know, or something. I don't know, you know, how it would unfold, but, I mean, they make an argument. Anyways, these things are not impenetrable.
The Lord with Iran, man. That's as well as Russia. The Heavenly Father, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, is with, just like in the days of old, when Esau Edom would reign and came into power, right? You know, prophecy was speaking about Esau Edom. You know, he got his blessing from his father Isaac, and this is why you see now he being what? The ruler of the earth. Job 9:24, the earth is given to the hands of the wicked, and his blessing was that sword. And the modern day sword today is the gun. But Esau Edom is not the only one that possessed that modern day sword, which is the major sword, which is what? These hypersonic missiles. So he's definitely at his end.
In the sense that, of course, there could be cyber attack, there could be espionage, there could be sabotage. So I would imagine that any attack on Iran will be preceded by some asymmetrical style pager-like cyber attack of sorts. Now, if the Israelis were to go in through Syria, take out Iranian radars that could potentially be able to detect the big boomers, that would likely be the play. And this is why I think you're not hearing much about this. You're not hearing much about it in the media. You're not hearing much about it in Iranian media as well. But Iran is currently in turmoil. People are panic buying gold, okay? The Iranian currency is in shambles. Inflation is through the roof. We're talking...
Listen, man, even though all these countries in a war, and they're against one another, but they all is for what? That digital, that MOTB, that New World Order. They all are with that. I always know that the elite controls every war you see and the things that are going down. What first and foremost, the Heavenly Father controls all things, including the wicked. That is Isaiah 45 and verse 7. The Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, control all things, man. I form thee, which is what is it? Isaiah 45 and 7. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord Yahweh, do all these things. So the Heavenly Father controls evil and good. So there's no such thing. The devil is fighting against the Lord and all that madness that Esau Edom teaches you. Amos 3:6. Should there be evil in the city and the people not be afraid? Should there be evil in the city and the people not be afraid? Should there be sometimes I could just quote it right off the top, y'all, but sometimes I can't. So hey, I got to turn to it. So then let's just turn to it. No big deal. 3 and 6, right? Should a trumpet be blown in the city and the people not be afraid? Should there be evil in the city and the Lord Yahweh has not done it? It's kind of hard to quote scriptures, and then in the process as you quoting the scripture, you running your mouth, so you have a tendency to forget. So let's hear a little more.
About a 46.5 producer inflation rate, up 8.4% just in the last month alone. So that is a trend which is rising. Okay, their currency is shedding value. People with
let's move up. We want to talk about currency. Let's get off here a little more. Let's talk about this war and what's taking place here.
Direction that they're taking the country. So even if you were to have a civil war, it's very unlikely that it would be successful when you have such a sizable militia that is backing the theocracy there. Now, the end goal of all this is to install this guy here. Let me see if I have a picture of him. Yikes. It's Count Dracula. Got Count Dracula written all over him. That's the son of the Shah. Okay, this is the guy they're kind of grooming and they're talking up and they're putting in front of people right now. And there's many Iranians who probably wouldn't mind having this guy back. Okay, I'm not in Iran, so I cannot speak for Iranians. Nonetheless, the Iranian theocracy, as overseen by the Ayatollah, is preparing for Armageddon, and that cannot be understated. And what we are about to see is a massive radiological...
Preparing for Armageddon, y'all. Armageddon, that's a Hebrew word. Armageddon. The war of troops.
Okay. We are about to witness something that we've never seen before. And it's baffling to me that the International Atomic Energy Agency isn't talking about what the United States and Israel are planning. They are turning a blind eye to this. Why? Because we are about to witness, quite possibly, one of the biggest radiological events in history. The question...
Radio, meaning what, man? When those missiles hit and what they don't, the people that don't die, they say people gonna be left, right? They can't live on the atmosphere because why? Because the radiation gonna be so bad that you can't live. You can't come out and just say they dig deep enough to at some point you got to come out those holes, right? Just say they did deep enough. What's gonna kill them? The radiation.
Is what will the fallout be, both literally and figuratively, if the objective is to utilize bunker busting, massive ordnance penetrating bombs, or potentially tactical nuclear bombs on these facilities to destroy the fissile enriched material, the enriched uranium, in these centrifuges that are buried hundreds of feet below the surface, then that's going to be a massive radiological event. That's a dirty...
Esau Edom, the so-called white man, is not the only one that can dig beneath the earth and can hide under the earth. These other countries can do the same, right? And definitely Iran. Iran, it plays a pivotal role in what in the end times of what of destroying Israel. Right, Jerusalem, but that land is going to be not going to be destroyed totally. It's going to be built back up because we as the Israelites, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and natives of the land, we're going to go back to our land, right? Whether we are whether 1/3 or 2/3, But the 1/3 is gonna what? Gonna go first. Starting with the 144,000 of men, then women and children. They're gonna be what? There first, because the 2/3, the wicked 2/3, they got to what? They got to burn right along with the enemies over here what in America.
Bomb. Okay, you're going to entomb a dirty bomb and condemn parts of Iran to be Chernobyl, essentially, or possibly even worse. So that is the potential downside of all this. Now, I believe it's against the Geneva Convention to target nuclear facilities. In fact, universal law or international law doesn't really apply at all, considering the Israelis have been permitted to have nuclear weapons and they get billions of dollars and nobody can say anything about it. In fact, we now find ourselves, after the Gaza genocide that has unfolded in the last year, we now find ourselves in a position where you're seeing one of the most pro-Israeli governments in history, the most pro-Israeli government. So that is why they're thinking that this is the only time that they're going to have to do this. After this window of opportunity closes, where the stars have perfectly aligned, just like I talked about yesterday, prices of oil are low. You have a relative amount of support with...
Let's go down a little more here. I want to look at the arsenal of Iran, and then I'm gonna go into the precept. I'm gonna close this out, man. Let's see something here. I think it's right along up in here. Let's hear, yeah, it is. Let's hear this spiel.
Going to be, I mean, people are oblivious to these sorts of things. They just presume Iran is another country in the Middle East, failing to understand that just another, I mean, this is stuff, Saddam never had any of this stuff. Okay, this is on a whole other level. Now you have a breakaway nuclear state in North Korea who is close allies with the Iranians, who likely helped them miniaturize nuclear technology to put it on their missile platforms. You have the Russians, who are currently at war with the Americans, essentially, and the Ukrainians in Europe. And, of course, China has a vested interest in protecting Iran as well. This is not Iraq. This is a country that is 2 to 3 times the size that Iraq was, not just in geography and in terms of the precariousness of the and just the challenging topography there with the mountainous, I mean, never mind putting boots on the ground. It's not going to happen. So you're going to create a power vacuum if you do a decapitation.
That's right. No boots on the ground is not going to save anybody. No, there's not going to be a war on the ground. It's going to be what? A war with hypersonic missiles. Huh? That's what it's going to be. Bombs. No guns. Bombs.
Strike against Iran if it is successful. And what that means is just widespread chaos and instability throughout the region if they are successful. Now, the question is Iran going to make the same mistakes as their proxy networks? That really is the question. That's what it comes down to. Because a lot of those fancy bases that they helped Syria build and Lebanon build are now being occupied by the Israelis. So, and they've actually been training for this type of subterranean warfare to infiltrate these facilities. And I'm quite certain that what they would probably do, looking at this, is they would try to just blow up a few of these things and hope that, there was a chain reaction, get in and get out.
Hope is over. It's over with. Joel 3 and 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, and those are the other nations. Among the Gentiles, prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Come up for what? Yahweh Shabbat, man. Everybody that got hypersonic missiles is going to give America its just due, as well as Israel, the land of Jerusalem. They all are going to get it. Let me just start at verse 14. I'm going to close this out. Revelations 16 and 14. I'll start there, 16, 14. For they are You know what? No, verse 12. And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates. That's in the wood. Where's the great river Euphrates? It's in the so-called Middle East. And the water therefore was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. That's Russia, man. China sits over there. They all coming what? Coming from the east to do what? To destroy America. And again, World War III, Yahweh Shaphat. The war of Armageddon, the war of troops. Verse 13. And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon. That's city state London, the setting up of what in the beginnings of what of where those 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, which is the system, the beast system, right? And out of the mouth of the beast, which is their military, NATO, EU. Look at the confusion against America's allies. Look at all the confusion. Now their allies, EU and NATO, they are against what? Against the whore, which is America. And out of the mouth of the false prophets goes into Roman Catholics, popes, even false prophets of our own people that are teaching things they ought not to teach. Start with what Bishop Nathaniel, right? He's not properly teaching and giving warning to the people concerning the MOTB. Every other week or every other month he's changing what? There's another in other words, he's adding and taking away from the word all the time. Verse 14 of Revelation 16 and 14. For they are the spirits of devils working miracles. That's Esau Edom technology. Esau Edom, Job 9:24, the earth is given to the hands of the wicked. They are the what? They are the devils of the earth, man. For they are the spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth. And the kings of the earth, you see them. They're all gathering now. They're all gathering. And for what? For war. And of the whole world to gather them to the battle of that great day of, be verbatim, the great day of God Almighty. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth. And that watching goes into to what? The prophet prophesying and watching and giving you all warning concerning the what? What's about to take place here on earth. Right? Blowing the horn. And the portion of blowing the horn is what? It's watching and filtering through the scriptures and telling you all and giving you warning, because that warning comes from what? The prophets first. And then what? It's going to manifest itself here on earth. What that is, Matthew 24 and verse 42, it says, watch therefore, for ye know not what hour the hour your Lord doeth come. Therefore be ye also ready, for in such an hour as ye think not the Son of Man cometh. So he's gonna come when most people are not ready for the that fire, which is gonna, America is gonna get it like no other, man. America is gonna get it. It's gonna burn till there's nothing. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth. And start with who? Which is the elect. You got to be vigilant and pay attention and see the what's going on. So what? So it won't come to you as a surprise, as most will not see this. They're not going to see it because they're not filtering through the scriptures and word about prophecy concerning the Bible. Watcheth and keepeth his what? His garments, meaning this truth, lest he walk naked, meaning out of this truth, or not even paying attention or caring about what the truth is. And he walketh naked, and what? And they see his shame. Verse 16, and he gathered them together into a place called in Hebrew tongue, Armageddon, which is the war of troops, which you see in what? Gathering in the so-called Middle East. So we're almost there, fellas. Just hold on. Just hold on, man. Just hold on. U.S. can't use a nuke to bomb Iran because what? Because Israel is what? They're right there. Right? Because, you know, what I mean by that is that they want to use a nuke on Iran if they could, you know, bomb. But what? Israel sit right there. What those hypersonic missiles have? Radiation, man. But hey, again, the scriptures speak about Iran doing what? And putting that work in the Middle East, especially against those small hatters, which is Amalek. So the end is near. So on that note, say call halal Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Kala Kodash, Shalom.